Yeah, this is editing me here. I forgot to mention that this lawsuit's been in the works for at least 2 years. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video. Also, content warning: I'm going to be talking about sexual harassment, sexual assault, and suicide in this video. Last week, news came out that the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing was suing Activision due to what they're alleging is systematic sexual harassment, unequal pay, and favoritism shown to the campus's male employees. Yeah, it's fucked. That's all I'm gonna say. The suit claims that men in the Activision Blizzard office would engage in cube crawls where they'd get blind drunk and wander around the production floor, often engaging in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Let's just. They're also, you know, saying it's just frat boy culture, but does frat boy culture, does it lead to a female employee committing suicide on a work trip because she was facing sexual harassment at her workplace, a place where she should have felt safe? Basically, she went on a work trip. She'd been, in a sexual relationship with one of her male, supervisors, who was found to have a butt plugs and lubricant with him on the trip by police. And then also, she faced sexual harassment. Multiple employees have cited that pictures of her vagina were passed around the workplace, which, by saying that this is just frat boy culture, or just boys being boys, you're diminishing this problem. This is fucked. Fuck Activision. Fuck them. They can burn in hell. But also, they said their statement towards this, they said the DFEH includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. They're trying to say that the Department of Fair Employment and Housing is just lying and all of this is, false, or, they're scaling it up. They also said, we are sickened by the reprehensible conduct of the DFEH to drag into the complaint the tragic suicide of an employee whose passing has no bearing whatsoever on this case and with no regard for her grieving family. They're saying that this case has nothing to do with her and that it's going to bring pain and sorrow to her family. No, it's going to bring closure, and it's going to make the family feel good because they know that the people who caused their daughter's death are finally going to pay. They also said unaccountable state bureaucrats that are driving many of the state's best businesses out of California. They're threatening to leave the state because they're being sued by the state. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but honestly, they can get fucked. Also, we have to bring up the fact that Bobby Kotick, Bobby Kotick is the chief executive of Activision, I believe. Yeah, the chief executive officer of Activision Blizzard. So there's this guy you may have heard of. His name's Jeffrey Epstein, right? You may not have heard of him, but it's, no, you definitely have. He's a fucking pedophile. Bobby Kotick was in his little black book, which was his flight records. I'm not saying that, he touched kids, but I'm just saying that he was recorded as having contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Also, they got fucking in this office. Females were treated like shit. They were, the male workers would be treated like kings pretty much by the higher ups, the executives, whereas the female workers would have the whole workload dumped on them. They had lower pay than the males, and they would just had an all-round shitty experience, and they'd always have, well, not always, but they'd have male co-workers constantly trying to make advances on them. But also, back to Bobby Kotick, so when a couple of years back, he had a flight attendant on his private jet who was sexually assaulted. Um, and what happened was basically his lawyers said that they should just pay her out of court. It will be easier. But he said that he his lawyers advised him to settle for 200,000 to 400,000, much less than it would cost to argue in court. Kotick disagreed. Mr. Kotick wanted to destroy the other side and not to pay Miss Madvik anything. Mr. Kotick realized this was not a good business proposition, but said that he was worth $1.5 billion and he didn't mind spending some of it on attorney fees. This is a man that, if he continues to be the CEO of Activision Blizzard or the chief executive, anti-bullying and problems like this aren't going to get resolved. He is the problem. The executives are the problem. They need to be dealt with. We live in a world where, corporations not control the world, but if we want Activision to pay for this, there's the lawsuit, which they will pay for, and they're saying that they do want the Department of Fair, the DFEH, do want a jury for that trial. But if we want Activision to pay, we just got to stop playing their games, paying money in their games, buying their games, because that will show them that we're not going to stand for this type of behavior where it's a toxic workplace where you should feel safe and feel like you belong, but these people are being ridiculed and bullied, and they just don't. They're made to feel like they don't belong, and that's just fucked. Another thing in the lawsuit is that they say that here, in the office, women are subjected to cube crawls in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Male employees proudly come into work hungover, play video games for long periods of time during work, while delegating their responsibilities to female employees, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, and talk openly about female bodies and joke about rape. Does that seem like a healthy workplace where the females are targeted by their higher-ups all because they're female? To me, it doesn't. So fuck Activision. They can burn in hell. They need to pay. Stop buying their games. I'm also just going to put up on screen here, before I finish this video, some tweets from, ex-Activision Blizzard employees corroborating this story of a toxic workplace. But in the end, Activision and Blizzard need to pay, and if they don't, then this is a loss for everyone, because it shows that, hey, look at me, I have money and power, I'm able to get away with whatever I want. Can we also just for a second address that at the front of Blizzard's LA office, they've got a statue of an orc with 8 plaques on the ground of their values, and one of them is every voice matters. They should get rid of this plaque, because obviously nobody's voice matters to them. Only the rich people's voices matter to them. Those that are higher ups or bringing in large amounts of money for the company actually matter. Look, last year they didn't support pro-Hong Kong protesters. They banned and took away the winnings from 2 esports, champions who won, all because they supported Hong Kong. So obviously to them, every voice doesn't matter. It's only money that matters to them, so fuck Activision.